This is my moment. The great actor Shah Rukh Khan once said, "Ummeed pe duniya kaayam hai," which gives this very positive outlook towards this thing called as hope, and says that the world stands on hope and there is nothing else to look forward into life. But on the contrary, we have the legendary poet Faiz Ahmed Faiz saying that दिल ना उम्मीद तो नहीं नाकाम ही तो है लंबी है गम की शाम मगर शाम ही तो है. And this particular assertion states that once a person is hopeful for something and when he loses it, then there is not just a feeling of loss, but a feeling of prolonged sadness, a feeling of being completely broken, a feeling of being in deep sadness. So these two greats of our generations gave us two contrasting quotes, and this takes us into an argument that is hope a good thing? Is hope a bad thing? Should we be hopeful in life or should we be hopeless in life? And this takes us into a much larger argument. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and all my peers, I thank you all for coming here, and I would like to share some of my life's experiences with all of you. My partner and I entered a month-old project in a regional science fair. A month-old project is not necessarily a thing to be really proud of, since we have got just a month to decide to develop our idea, to understand it rather. Knowing this, I wasn't very hopeful that any recognition would come our way. But then there was my partner, who was always very hopeful. She always adapted a positive mindset and always believed that if we did work hard, some sort of recognition would definitely come our way. The INSEF, the Regional Science Fair started, and the judging process also started. The judging process was extremely rigorous, and believe me, after that judging process, I was very sure in my mind that nothing is coming our way. I adapted a very negative mindset. But then there was my partner who was still believing that there was something good that was going to happen to us. The results came, and I still don't know how, somehow, we were declared as one of the winners. After this achievement, my partner was very delighted. She was going around talking to people, sharing her achievements with her parents, her friends. She was all smiles. She was extremely lightened up. But then there was Tarush standing there in some random corner and dissolved in deep sadness, in deep thinking. After I reached home after a couple of hours, I thought to myself that what is the reason that I'm behaving so weirdly? And after days of brainstorming, overthinking, and contemplating my own emotions in my mind, I came to a conclusion. Somewhere in my mind, I had developed a subsequent hope for being shortlisted in the upcoming national fair. And the surreal feeling that I won't get shortlisted for it was taking a very heavy toll on me. Believe me, this was the very reason why I did not celebrate an unexpected achievement, that too at a really high level. But this incident, this particular incident, has got a very good relation with the Black Swan theory. Now you would ask, Tarush, what is this Black Swan theory that you're talking about? I don't know it. So, okay. Let's just leave the science fair incident behind for a bit, and we'll come back to it later. Now, let's say, imagine. Imagine yourselves, let's say, as chickens. I'm not crazy, right? Imagine yourselves as chickens. Done? You are a chicken. As you come out of your shell, there is a lingering curiosity around you, and you are asking yourself, why am I here? What is the meaning of my existence? Why are there so many chickens around me? Why is there a fence all around me? What is that gray building that stands at the corner of the farm? As you grow up, you hear from your friends, from your chicken peers, that there is one slaughterhouse, and when a chicken is taken to that slaughterhouse, nobody ever comes back. And after hearing this exact statement, you as a chicken has created a visualization of hell that is the slaughterhouse. Just imagine how scary it would be for the chicken. So after hearing this, you are always very skeptical, very watchful for your caretaker that any day would pop up and he'll take you to the slaughterhouse. But nothing necessarily happens. Like days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months eventually turn into a year, and 1 year turns eventually into multiple years. But that fateful day never seems to come. 1,000 days pass by. Now, you are convinced within your mind that you are better than all of the chickens around you. That is why your owner loves you so very much. But on the 1,001st day, that fateful day comes and you are taken to the slaughterhouse and you eventually end up on someone's dinner plate in form of a chicken curry, chicken biryani, or anything that you would like. Now, imagine being in the shoes of that chicken. It had all of its hope, all of its trust in that owner, in its caretaker. And imagine the pain of betrayal it would have felt when it was eventually taken to the slaughterhouse. The chicken, after this, thought to itself, humanity is of no use. I should have never crossed the road. I shouldn't have trusted my caretaker. But just try to contemplate. If the chicken never had attached itself to a hope, to a trust with its owner, with its caretaker, it would have never felt that pain of betrayal, right? And the whole experience wouldn't have been so much bad. Now, this particular instance gives you a very negative aspect of hope. This too is related to the black swan theory. Okay, now I'll tell you about the black swan theory. So thousands and thousands of years ago, black swan theory there wasn't any such thing known as a black swan theory, but there was a black swan. Thousands of years ago, people thought that swans could only be white. But then, on one random day, a black swan popped up. Now, all of them are wondering, what is this? How can a swan be black? And now they had to rethink all of their thoughts, all of their intelligence. And then, in that particular moment, the term black swan was coined. A black swan event refers to any event that is very unexpected or unimaginable or uncertain. Nicholas Nassim Taleb wrote a book called as The Black Swan Theory. I'll come back to it later as well. Now coming back to the chicken, right? Chicken, everybody loves chicken. So for the chicken, one day of betrayal overpowered all the 1,000 days of love that the caretaker gave it. That one day of betrayal is overpowering. On that one day of betrayal, the chicken completely turned its perceptions towards humanity and its owner. That is how significantly black swan events can affect our lives. In the book Black Swan Theory, Nicholas Nassim Taleb gives us a new perspective and tells us our humans' vulnerability towards these black swan or uncertain events and how increasingly vulnerable we are becoming to these events. I hope all of you would have understood what a black swan really is now. Coming to another very close incident to my life that took place on January 9, 2020, the day where one of my closest family members, my Kundan Mama, passed away. While he was there, and if you did look at his family, everything was just so perfect. I mean, happiness all around. Children are laughing, playing, eating all the time. There was not even a single thing that one would change after seeing his family. But then that fateful day, 9 January 2020, came by, where he left all of us alone. And after that point, it felt as if the family was completely changed. The family that once was very hopeful, had a very positive mindset within itself, was now the same family which was always negative, was the same family which lost all its hope, all its faith in anything and everything. This too is an example of a black swan where one day where my Kundan Mama passed away, overpowered all the uncountable memories that he created, all the uncountable good memories, in fact, that he created with his family. This is the extent to which black swan events can affect our lives. In our lives, many a times, solitude overpowers gratitude. And this very argument takes us into a more psychological dimension of what we are talking about right now. Many a times in life, when we lose hope or we lose anything that we have, we become the most vulnerable beings on the planet and we start going against anybody and everybody, that is. Many a times, even God, the Almighty. I have done this multiple times, I'll accept it. And I believe that majority of all of you sitting here has done it at least once in your life. And believe me, it is nothing to be sad about, right? This is the intrinsic nature of human beings. But that is what we have to focus on changing. Being hopeful is not the problem, right? But being hopeful of everything is the problem. If we talk more about hope, hope is a necessary boon. Existence of hope may be controversial, but its existence, believe me, is unwavering. There is nothing without hope in our lives. Now, talk about a person who propagates the propaganda of hopelessness, let's say. He too, while propagating his propaganda of hopelessness, hopes that people will accept his or her ideology. You see that pun? Hope in hopelessness. That is the extent to which hope affects our lives. Being hopeful is not the problem, but the problem starts when we are hopeful of each and everything in our lives. Our hopes, our ambitions should always be tempered with a layer of realities in our world, because being hopeful and not being aware of the realities which will eventually lead us to being very, very vulnerable beings. Many of the times, hope on a personal level, hope inspires us to chase ambitions. And the Black Swan theory then comes and teaches us that our ambitions should also be in considerations with the reality of the world. On a societal level, hope inspires us to chase development for a whole community as one. And now the Black Swan theory teaches us that even the most carefully laid out plans can be disrupted by certain uncertain events, by certain unimaginable moments. And that is why we always have to be ready in every aspect of our life. We always have to be realistic in every aspect of our life, despite and being at the same time being hopeful in our lives. So, Tarush, it is good that you shared all of these things with me, but what should I take away on a personal level? How am I benefiting from your talk? Hope good. What should I take away? Now, according to this 16-year-old, there are 2 mantras that you can take away from my talk. And they are, the first mantra is, make peace with your hopes and the realities of the world. Before doing anything in your life, anything, believe me, anything, make sure that your heart is in the right place. The second mantra is figure out a balance, a perfect balance between hopes and the realities of the world. Despite how much I try to look at the world with a positive mindset, but the world is definitely not a wonderland to live in, and that is why we have to be aware of our realities. And therefore, this balance between hope and reality is extremely crucial. I too, at the end of the day, I am just a 16-year-old. All that I have said today in my speech, in my talk, all that has made you feel something today while you have been listening to me, all that has made you feel anything. It is not as if I have implemented all of this in my own life. But what I think important is that I am trying my absolute best to implement the said principles in my own lives. And all of you should also try to do that. Because if you want a better life, you should be aware of hope and realities of the world. You should be aware of the intricate balance between hopelessness, hope, reality. In conclusion, this Hope and reality, hopelessness are parts of the same coin, but it is important to always maintain a balance between them. I would like to end by saying one quote from my favorite franchise, that is, the function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not use my days trying to prolong them. I should use my time. I thank you all very much. Thank you.